So you want to hear about the fabled Odysseus, the most traitorous and greatest man to ever walk upon this shore? Listen carefully, for I will only tell the tale once, as it hurts my heart so. Odysseus. I had been minding my own problems on my beautiful island of Odysseus, stuck there for eternity with no people, no lovers, but in all the beaches of all the isles in the Ionian Sea, he had to wash up on mine. The first time I saw him, he was crawling up on the sand-caked shores as naked as a newt. With streaming locks flowing over his ears, I had to have him. A chance like this? A person? At first he was cautious of me, thinking I would turn him into a pig. But once he knew that I wanted him, he became much more comfortable. I brought him into my own home and treated him like my own husband. And at first he was content. He ate and laughed at my table, and willingly mounted my bed even. He told me his great stories of triumph over that dreadful Cyclops Polyphemus, whom he tricked and cut the beast's eye out, or the Lastrygonians, and how he cleverly moored his boat outside of the port because he knew they were there, which allowed for his quick escape, or how he almost killed Scylla himself. Most have said are lies. Nobody could kill Scylla. But at the time I was a fool, and I was lost in I was lost in him. He was a wit, telling me what I wanted to hear with his rolling voice as calming as the break of dawn's waves. After a year of this, I finally asked him, great wily Odysseus, to be my immortal husband, to forever walk and conquer by my side, an offer most men only dreamed of. This by itself seemed to frighten the man, as most commitments did, and his behavior began to change. He told me he had a son and a wife back in his own Ithaca, and that he needed to return immediately. And I wouldn't let him go. I couldn't. I kept him, thinking he would change his mind, but he grew sad and suspicious, crying all day on a rock overlooking the sea. He claimed that I was keeping him a prisoner against his will. I couldn't believe it. The man I had given all my being to, wishing to leave and calling me a warden? He would barely eat or talk, but he still managed to force himself into my bed every night, against his will, they say. But then the gods took pity on him, and sent their great dog Hermes himself down to relinquish Odysseus from my clutches. The god entered, and naturally was amazed at the beauty of the scenery, and I welcomed him sumptuously, for the gods do not like to be treated as anything less than their expectations of subordinates. He returned the gesture, and then he told me his true purpose for coming. He ordered me to release Odysseus, saying it came from Zeus himself. Why did they care if I fell with a mortal? They do it, the male gods, all the time, corrupting the young beauties, seducing them, or outforcing them if they are feeling wicked. And I am not allowed to because I am a woman? That's why? I'm not allowed to have my own mortals to play with simply to make the gods feel superior? But why would any of the pigheads care about Odysseus? Maybe it was one of the jealous crones wishing to out him from my arms? Hera, Aphrodite, Athena? The jealous cowards hiding behind the power of their daddy Zeus. But it was a command and I had to follow, or I would suffer far more than a simple loss. I sought Odysseus out and found him where I always would, atop a rock looking into the sea, eyes swollen red with longing. I opened my lips. Nothing could escape but air. But my ties with him came to me, and a marriage without love, without trust, is no marriage at all. I told him of the previous encounter sadly. He countered bitterly, paranoid as always, that wicked man. But as soon as he came to believe it, that was the beginning of the end. He took my finest bronze tools and made himself a raft, while I used everything in my power to make him stay, wearing lustrous outfits and supplying him with all he could eat. But he would not be stopped. He packed up and set sail, bearing towards his normal wife and son. And now here I am. I'll tell you now, don't let anyone or anything come between you and the ones you love. You might as well give up.